thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Donna.
In these kinds of economic environments, businesses normally become more competitive, more cutthroat, more aggressive. However, I understand that part of Kamalaya's vision, this is in the early days, was to move from competition to collaboration. Can you tell me more about that and how that comes to play?
Sure. Really, it's a frame of mind. It's your reference point. You know, competition is all about looking outside of yourself or what people are doing and competing against them. And competition can be a good thing in certain contexts. It depends just how far it's taken. Certainly cutthroat is never good. But what we have always wanted to be doing is to be collaborative, not only within Kamalaya, where, for example, there's a lot of cross-referring happening within the practitioner team. So even though we have specialists, they work with each other to create the best guest experience possible, so that perhaps I can deliver one service, but I know that you are really excellent at this other service that would benefit the guests, and we're working together collaboratively. So not only within the team of practitioners, but also interdepartmentally. The F&B team are able to talk about detox and are able to guide them to do something at wellness, and vice versa. The wellness team is referring and talking about the cuisine and things that are important that they be doing. So interdepartmentally, there's a lot of support. And then for Kamalaya, the vision was outside of Kamalaya also, that there is collaboration with other institutions, with other organizations, with other businesses that are like-minded philosophically. We might not be even in the same exact line of business, but there's a synergy. So a collaboration can happen. And we don't look outside at what other people are doing as a way of competing with what other people are doing. In fact, I know very, very little about what people are doing that are so-called competitors. We don't really view the other businesses in wellness as our competition in the classical sense of the term at all. We're very focused on what we're doing, and we know that a lot of industry people are looking to Kamalaya at what we're doing, and that's really quite welcome.
So, Karina, if you're not looking at or if Kamalaya is not looking at the competition, what is it that you look at to inform Kamalaya's growth?
We look at what's happening in the, if you will, the cutting-edge medical field. Whether we look at Chinese medicine, whether we look at Ayurveda, whether we look at functional medicine, whether we look at the information coming out in research in lifestyle medicine. So we're looking more in those areas because that's also my background. So that's where I do a lot of research and then bring that to Kamalaya.
So I understand that you travel quite extensively.
Yes.
And is that what you do when you travel?
That's part of what I do when I travel. That's part of what I do. For example, recently I was in California. And California is where I went to school for traditional Chinese medicine. So I went and I visited some of my teachers who are dear friends. I could visit their clinics and see what they were doing in that field. I also have a very good friend of mine, Dr. Prudence Hall, who I also visited, and she's very much in integrative medicine and renowned for what she does. So I was seeing what's happening in her clinic and having discussions with her. In Arizona, Arizona is a center for all kinds of, Andrew Weil is in Tucson, and so Arizona is known as a state that is very progressive and cutting edge also in what's happening medically. So it is a big part of what I do. I don't do it formally, but it is very, very much a big part of what I do. I'm very much in the research aspect of
so that's probably your dream holiday, I imagine.
It is. It's absolutely. It's the most restorative. It's inspirational. It's creative. I learn a lot, and I bring that back.
If you had to name one quality that has the best potential to help a business through challenging times or times of change, what would that be?
Flexibility. Of course, one can ask, how do you become flexible? So the first step is stay calm. Really stay calm. Yes, it's a crisis. Yes, businesses are in trouble, but by staying calm, we maintain our lateral thinking ability. We don't move into the fight or flight response, which shuts down our creative, problem-oriented, solution-oriented thinking and puts us into kind of a tunnel vision. It closes down options in our lateral thinking. So that's number one, is stay calm in order to then be flexible. Be flexible in our thinking, be creative in the way to approach the situation or the problem that you want to solve. I think that flexibility needs to be applied so that one is able to respond to the situation as it's happening quickly and have mobility. Now, I know from Kamalaya and from the experience at Kamalaya, to be flexible, one has to streamline. One has to streamline. Sometimes businesses when the economic times are thriving and everything is prospering, everything grows and a business grows and maybe becomes more complex and larger in terms of offerings than it needs to be for what its core identity is and for what the guests really need. Mm-hmm. So during these more difficult times, to be flexible, there needs to be also a paring down, a simplification that needs to be linked to the core identity of that business and to what is the guest actually wanting and reflecting that this is where we will put our money. So those two things, taking those two things into account and then simplifying, streamlining, I like to call it. Mm-hmm. I think that's very, very important. The more flexible, we know that in evolution. Flexibility helps us survive. And that's true in everything.
Yes, being able to adapt to situations.
To situations.
Yeah.
And in Chinese medicine, that flexibility is a core principle. The lack of flexibility is called stagnation, in Chinese medicine. So very, very, very important quality. And I believe anything that's a principle, let's say in traditional Chinese medicine, can be applied to a business setting, to an interpersonal relationship. Flexibility is one of those.
Mm-hmm. Well, a business is a group of individuals, so...
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
It's been said that challenging times often offer the greatest opportunities for growth and expansion and development. What are the opportunities that you see for the industry? I'm talking the spa and wellness industry.
That's a great question. It's a great question. I think that it's a perfect time to be really, for us to be contemplating who are we really as an industry? What is our vision? What are we really about? And to evaluate that now and then from that perspective, from that bird's eye view, if you will, from that vision point, then take it down and apply it. Well, what does that mean? If we are this, then do we keep doing all of this? Mm-hmm. Or do we simplify and say, actually, these particular services or these activities are not really relevant to who we are? So it's a perfect time to recraft ourselves, to reformulate what we are about as an industry. And I think that's really important because it's easy during prosperous times to get off course. In the mad rush of growing, more is better, it's easy for things to go in all kinds of directions that might not be closely aligned with what the industry is about. Mm-hmm. But it just happens as a part of the buzz, of the growth factor. But during challenging times, it's an opportunity to really examine what are we really about? What are we going to put, put your money where your mouth is. What are we going to put, where are we going to put our action, our steps, our finances, our limited resources, and to move in that direction. So I think all crisis is an incredible opportunity to do that. Businesses, personal health crisis, relationship crisis, it's a time to reevaluate, reassess, and then take action, but only after reevaluating and re-examining.
And after not panicking.
Definitely. Not panicking is critical. Yeah. Otherwise, we shut down. Our ability to think is literally, it shuts down. And this is documented. This is not my giving this information. This is well researched. That's one of the things that happens.